Welcome, Graeme, to the show.
Thanks, Keith.
Holy Week is always a special time, not only in the Christian calendar, but particularly in the life of Wesley Mission. What are some of the events that are going to go on this week?
Well, today in Sydney, if you come down to Circular Quay, you'll see a big throng of people down there singing, waving palm branches and so on. And the purpose of all this is to draw attention to the fact that this is the start of Holy Week, and it's the time when Jesus entered Jerusalem. And here in Sydney, we want to bring the faith into the public square. And this is a great opportunity for people to join together and to be uplifted and encouraged, but we encourage the public to be part of it.
And during the week, there'll be other things happening?
Absolutely. Look, there's a couple of things that happen. First of all, there's a breakfast, that's a luncheon that's happening at the Wesley Centre on Tuesday, and then, of course, the breakfast on the Wednesday. And the Wesley Easter breakfast has been going for many, many years, but it draws together community leaders, business leaders, key people. You know, we've had
politicians, all sorts there, haven't we?
Politicians, former governors of the Reserve Bank, sports stars, all those sorts of people. But it's those sort of people we want to reach out to with the message of Christ.
And that's the whole purpose. And for people, they can go on the website, they'll find information, and they can book if there's bookings needed, which there might be for the lunch and the breakfast, might they? But they can find all the details there, can't they?
All the details are at www.wesleymission.org.au. And of course, on the Friday, we've got the major Good Friday event. Yeah,
and that's been growing, hasn't it, in size in recent years?
Yes, look, the Good Friday event encapsulates a reenactment of Jesus' persecution, his arrest, and then his trial. And all this happens down in Martin Place in the amphitheatre down there. We draw up to 1,000 people, and we have people from the hotels that come up from, that come over from America on holidays. We have airline staff, and plus people from the city as well. They all come in. But then what we do after that is that there's a march in period costume quite often of Jesus and his followers, his mother. It's all reenacted, and then that goes up to the Wesley Centre. He carries the cross up Pitt Street, and it's quite a stunning event. And the media cover it in a huge way. We get massive coverage. So
people can gather from about 1:30. Let's just move into the media coverage for a moment. When I first, 13 years ago, it'll be this year, came, the city was completely dead. I've noticed how it's beginning to awaken, that we're losing the sense, aren't we, that these days are different than any other days, and it won't be long before it's hard. But what strikes me is that there still is an amazing interest in these events from the media.
Yeah, the media is very, very interested, particularly in the Good Friday event. I mean, it's great for television and for newspapers, and of course, and online publications as well. But you've got to think too that Sydney is the first really international city on the globe that commemorates Good Friday. And of course, the photos that are taken by UPI, United Press International, Reuters, Associated Press, they send all their photographers and reporters along, as well as the mainstream media from here in Sydney. All the television stations, radio stations cover it. I
mean, I was fascinated one year that we were on the front page of a Moscow newspaper. You know, what a story that is, really, and that's to do with exactly the things you're talking about.
Yeah, well, our photos have popped up all over America, from Los Angeles to Chicago and New York, and right through Europe as well.
And they don't pay for any of them, do they, really?
No, they don't.
Let me just ask a final question, an important one, though, not just a flippant one. The Christian faith in the public square, we talk about that. What does that mean, and what are the concerns that there are there?
Look, today in Australia, there's a lot of this talk around faith being marginalised, but there's still close to 2 million people who go to church every Sunday, and the McCrindle research out there shows that, around 60% of Australians still have a faith, and they have an interest in faith, and many of that is a Christian faith. But apart from that, I think people are searching. And, to take a drama like this to the public square, and then you get the media coverage off the back of it, people start talking about it, and it reaches millions of people on Good Friday evening and then over the weekend. You doing radio and TV interviews as well. But it's important, I often say to people say, oh, our churches are empty and people aren't interested in faith anymore. Well, the fact of the matter is there's more people going to church every weekend in this country that are going to AFL games, rugby league games and soccer games combined.
Altogether. Tell me, just in a sentence, what does faith mean to you when it comes to this week?
Faith means to me, it's about not just leaving Jesus on the cross. It's about, yes, it's about his suffering and everything else, but it's about his resurrection. You know, I grew up on the beaches of Cronulla, and one of the things that always, when I get out of the surf, I often think to myself about how the disciples would have met Jesus by the side of the water and as he was cooking breakfast for them. And that really speaks to me. But at Christmas, we quite often leave Jesus in the manger.
And for you, it's not leaving him on the cross. Thanks for being part of the show today, Graeme.